All right, what's up, everybody? Dan here, and this is For Your Mental Health Weekly, where we talk about mental health issues that affect myself, affect others, and are just generally around the world. So, if you're watching this episode, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it, and hopefully, this continues on for the foreseeable future because I'm having a lot of fun. Today, episode number 8, we have a special guest. First ever guest appearance here on the podcast, the show. This is Bret, so say hello, Bret.
Hey, Dan, thanks for having me.
All right. All right. Hello, hello. Awesome. Thank you for coming on to the show. I really appreciate it. First ever guest. I'm really excited to have you on.
I'm excited. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah. Awesome. So speaking of that, I know you really liked my video on the negative thoughts or controlling your negative thoughts and not letting them get the better of you.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
so
like I am all about that. And it's like I have like over like the past couple of years, I've actually gotten like a lot better at it. And I've had fun and enjoyment in sharing my progress with people in hopes it would like help other people, because I have this tendency to like wrap my head around the way other people are. And it's like, it's sometimes I'm good at communicating things that are otherwise very hard to say, that comes to mental health and controlling your thoughts and watching your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah. In that video, I talked, a lot about, having thoughts come into your head and having to kind of pinpoint where those negative thoughts are coming from. And when you can kind of pinpoint that, when you can see what's actually making you feel that way, you could do something about it. You could change it.
That's very true. That's very true. And here's the thing that, like, you've heard of the whole, have you ever heard of like toxic positivity?
I have.
You have heard of that.
Yeah.
You see, what you're saying right there is the opposite of toxic positivity, because what it is that, those people that say good vibes only, and stuff like that. Well, people don't understand that bad vibes are there for a reason, and they're there to help us. And that's to help us figure out what the root of this is. And that's why if you go all Sherlock Holmes on your emotions, you can find things out about yourself that you didn't know before.
Yeah, that's a really great point, to become that sort of detective in that way, to be the mystery solver.
Exactly. Yeah. And never push away those negative thoughts. Be that emotional Sherlock Holmes.
I like that. So I used to work in an escape room, and one of the rooms we had was Sherlock Holmes themed.
Oh, so, cool.
Yeah, so we had that for the whole time I worked there, and it was cool. It was cool. It was like an old school kind of like 1700s, 1800s, whatever kind of era it was. And
they have like, I don't know, what's Sherlock Holmes like address again? Something Baker Street.
Yeah, 222 or something like that?
I can't remember, but I remember Baker Street.
Yes, a very famous place. But yeah, you're right. I think you're right. The bad vibes are there for a reason. You're right, to show us that there is something wrong, that we need to take care of in our lives, because if we don't, it's going to eat away at our mental health and, cause us to shy away from maybe doing things that, really can help us going forward, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it can also affect us in other ways that we did not perceive. It can affect our relationships. It can affect our jobs. It can affect our health. It can affect our health. And, not just mental health, but physical health too. And I don't know where I was going after that, but yeah.
That's all right. It's all good. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself? They don't really know much about where you come from, what your story is. So maybe shed a little bit of light on that.
Well, let's see here. Where do I start? I work like everybody. I work like everybody else, and right now I am in a good position in life, and that's why I've been able to focus so much heavily on myself, because I haven't had to worry about money.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah, you see, that I could go into that like forever about not having to worry about money and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. And you can
Mm-hmm.
worry about yourself, you can worry about your health
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I work, I'm just a really a normal person. I live by myself, and that's kind of like a boon to my mental health because it gives me more time to just focus
Mm-hmm.
on me, and because I owe nothing to anybody.
Yeah.
I know nothing to anybody, so I'm able to just focus on myself and make myself better.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and uh, I like to play video games.
Nice.
I practice playing guitar. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
guitar is a very important part of my mental health.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
I've been playing guitar as long as I've realized how much control I do have over my mental health. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that's you have to put a caveat on a statement like that because there's some people that can't really help it.
Okay.
So I always
Yeah.
have to put that asterisk there. I do recognize that, there are people that are worse off than me, you know.
Sure. Sure. We all deal with things in our own way. We all have different struggles and different roads to, wherever we're going in life. And, it's all important. I don't think, comparing ourselves necessarily to others and saying maybe they're worse off or maybe I'm better off. I used to make that same kind of evaluation, I think, of my own struggles,
Uh-huh.
and I think I've realized that, it's all important. Like what seems just terribly devastating to me, to another person would seem like another walk in the day in the park. So, you know,
Exactly. And that's where perspective comes into to play. And
hmm
perspective can play a lot in a person's gratitude.
hmm
And one way I know this, you see, we talk about happiness. If we were to talk about happiness, one root thing to happiness is having gratitude.
yeah,
And having gratitude, you've heard of gratitude lists, right? That's why gratitude lists exist, and they help. And if you go through and list everything that you're grateful for, and I know it's very hard for some people. At one point, it's like I knew this was like whatever, but eventually I started like writing things down like every single night, so it's the last thing I think about before I go to bed at night. I have a good job. I have insurance. I'm one of the lucky people that has insurance. I wasn't always like that. So I know what it's like to be on both sides of the pond
hmm
when it comes to good insurance in this country.
yeah,
Uh, but there are people there that don't understand how good they have it, and they have never really had that many other jobs other than this one, and they've been working there for like 20 years and stuff like that,
hmm
and they forgot what it's like to have another job.
yeah,
They lost that perspective and they lost that gratitude. I came to that job from a minimum wage
hmm
payment, and uh, that that job had a lot to do with me focusing more on my mental health, because that job led to me having a really bad mental breakdown. And
okay, yeah,
it was after that mental breakdown that I realized that I really need to make changes in my life, and I had more control over it than I realized. So anyways, I came from a minimum wage job, and I come to this place. This is the greatest job I've ever had, and I am over the moon because I have that perspective.
yeah. That's really cool. That's really cool. And that kind of story, is very similar to what I've been through in my own life. I've worked
Yeah.
a lot of minimum wage jobs where I just needed money, and wasn't really sure what I was going to, do with the rest of my life. I'm just working at a video store, or working at a craft store, or working at a grocery store. Like I was going around just doing whatever I could just to stay afloat. I
Yeah.
wasn't living with my parents. I was just on my own, and living, well, renting out rooms for people. So I never lived by myself per se, really, but having to pay the rent and having to pay for utilities, clothes, food, etc. And just seeing what was going to happen. And a lot of those jobs did create that sort of same issue with my mental health. I would go in and be very depressed because, you know, some people there were just not accepting of who I was. They didn't like the fact that I was, you know, a outgoing, creative sort, and they saw it as a negative. You know what I mean?
Really?
So yeah, and
Really?
yeah, and unfortunately, some people are like that. You know, they're a bit closed-minded, and they're very focused on the money, making money, and selling products, and you know, it's just not always the best environment to foster that sort of care. So I totally hear you on that.
Yeah. Uh, 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 so, uh, where does like the perspective come in? Like you're saying, were you telling me that because you had a perspective like I had, or?
Yeah, yep, exactly. I felt the same
What
way.
was it? I missed the part where you said what was the perspective?
So the perspective was just knowing that I've left those jobs. I don't work those jobs anymore, and being where I am now, where I can kind of do different things and still maybe, you know, get things done, pay the rent, be able to get by. It's
So
a
you're
great
saying,
feeling.
I get what you're saying. So you are comparing to what freedoms you have now as to before, and you have that perspective.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's beautiful. That's
Absolutely.
wonderful. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's amazing what you can do with your life if you just keep living it and roll through the punches and get through those tough times and, you know, look for the bright side ahead. So, you know,
And yeah,
yeah.
it's like, and look for the bright side of what did you say?
I'll just look for the bright side that's ahead, you know,
Aside, yeah.
yeah.
It's if a person was, have you ever thought about if two people were in the similar situation, like these two people lost a job,
Mm-hmm.
hypothetically, and one person is like, oh my gosh, this is horrible, blah, 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 blah. It's like my life is over. And the other person's like, oh, I could start a new job. I could get a new job. This could be a new chapter for me. And
Yeah.
it's, and here's the thing is that I think sometimes, you know, when I think of a thought like that, there's really nothing innately bad with like losing a job, but it's your perspective about it that forms whether it's good or bad. You know,
Mm-hmm.
glass half full, glass half empty type deal, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Are you prepared for it? Are you the kind of person that can bounce back from losing your job? You know, if you really liked it and do something else that you can like as well, you know, can you
Mm-hmm.
make that leap? You know, are you able to
Yes.
mentally, emotionally just get there and not be stuck in the past? Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
huge, huge thing.
Yeah. Here's another thing is that, uh, and this kind of goes to how I function fundamentally and spiritually as a person, is that I try my best not to be afraid of change, because when it comes down to it, there's all things that we want to change in our life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And but then when things change in our life in ways that we're not expecting, we don't like it. And it's really silly to think that you would be in one state for a long period of time, because we're rapidly evolving, we're changing as people, our
Mm-hmm.
interests fade and go in time, and our friends come and go in time, and it's just it's I went on a tangent there.
No, that's all true. That's all great stuff. I really believe that you're right there. That, you know, life is about change. You know, if you can't keep up with the times, you're going to be left behind. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. You know, I think that the more we talk about, you know, what it's like to lose a job or, you know, lose out on a relationship or, you know, lose out on something that you find very valuable to you, um, is really important for overcoming it and getting to that next point where you can be happy again with your life, you know, because we all get down in the dumps sometimes. We feel
Hmm.
low
Hmm.
because of the things that happen to us. But I think sometimes we forget that we are also agents of change, that we can take something within ourselves and make it something beautiful, you know?
We're creatures of adapting too. It's
Yeah.
like we can adapt and stuff like that, and um that's why, you know, our species is just like the way it is, because we adapt, we make the world our way, and whether that's spiritually or physically, uh it, it, it it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
You kind of get what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And the perfect example is the whole coronavirus pandemic going on right now. Like, this is
Yeah,
something unprecedented, and yet,
unprecedented,
yeah,
and yet it's becoming normal.
yeah, we're adapting.
Yeah, yeah, we're adapting,
Mm-hmm.
and life is going on, not in the
Mm-hmm.
way people are expecting, not in the way people are wanting, but after all, the world is still going on, you know?
Yes. Yes. People are still having birthdays. They're still having weddings. They're still going to school, getting their degrees.
You know, this is
It's,
here's something I like to think about. It's like if aliens came from outer space, like tomorrow, and it
yeah.
made headline news, and everybody's, oh my gosh, blah 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 blah. You still have to go to work tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
are you not going to go to work tomorrow? Life still goes on.
Right. Right. Exactly. That's a huge story, but you still want to put food on the table. You still want to have a place to live. Yeah. You still want to have purpose. So,
Yeah.
so some things actually, they don't change because they are so constant, at least in our society, the modernized society of, going to work and making your money and having a place to live and all the niceties of life, of modern life. So yeah, you're right. We do have to keep going in that way and not let, something like coronavirus, or in your case, aliens,
Yeah.
make us stop for too long, because humanity needs to keep going. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
For sure.
I kind of wanted to bring attention to something that when you was talking about analyzing your negative thoughts in your last video, it's like I have some insight that I think might be helpful.
Yes, let's talk
Uh,
about it.
so this is what I personally believe we are all as humans, is that by default and naturally and innately, we are all happy. We are all happy by default. And there are things that are holding us down. It pulls us down. It's that baggage that's holding us down, and that makes us less than happy. And this is the way I look at it. We are like balloons being held underwater. And if you let go of that baggage, and you let go of that balloon, what's the balloon going to do? It's just going to go up. You go up naturally. And so this is the way I operate everyday life. If I feel anything less than happy, I ask myself, what's keeping me from being happy right now? And sometimes it's something as silly as the weather. It's like, it's raining out, it's gray, and the weather makes me feel sad sometimes,
Sure.
And I was like, oh, well, it's maybe I'm sad because I have to work tomorrow, or because my vacation's over, or because somebody said something that I didn't like and I'm still thinking about it.
Yep.
And it's just like, your emotions are your biggest indicator of where your thoughts are. If you ever want to know what kind of thoughts you're having, just look at your emotions, what you're feeling. And that usually gives you the biggest indicator of what thoughts are holding you back, what thoughts are holding you underwater, what thoughts are keeping you from flowing up to your natural state.
Yeah, though that's awesome. That's a really great way to put it, for sure.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of, I don't remember where I heard this. I think it was from, like, you ever do mindful meditation? You ever heard of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Mindfulness.
Yeah. So my therapist recommended I try a mindful meditation.
Actually, it's kind of funny you say it, because my therapist pulled the mindful fitness thing on me as well.
Okay. So yeah, there's some commonality there too.
Yeah.
And and one of the videos that I listened to, they mentioned, like, basically walking just some path with a bunch of, like, heavy rocks in your in your pockets, and every few steps you take one out, you turn around, you put it down, you keep walking, and then the load gets lighter and lighter and lighter. So we have to be better at taking those negative thoughts, those rocks, and placing it on the ground next to us and walking away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that's kind of goes in hand with the whole balloon analogy.
Right.
Lightening the load, and your trek becomes easier.
Yeah, it's really powerful stuff, no doubt about it.
Mindfulness has done a lot for my mental health. It also apparently that's a very popular thing that's going on right now. At least that's the way my therapists talk. A lot of therapists are doing it these days. And I think that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think being mindful, instilling your thoughts, and just being focused on the present moment. It's like, there are people that are sad because, my school grades are bad. I have this skin infection,
Mm-hmm.
or I have this family that I really don't like at home. Yeah, but is that killing you right this second?
Mm-hmm.
Is it killing you right this second? If you, and some people, a concept like what we're talking right now is completely alien, and I can relate to that because it's hard to rein in your thoughts. It really is. It's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure.
yeah. um but what I would say to a person like that is like, is it really killing you right this second? No, it's not. You're fine right now. Then let's just enjoy what now is. Let's
Yes.
enjoy now.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I think as young people, you never really get the reins of how to control what your mind is thinking. You just kind of think it, and you don't have that filter. You kind of just say things, and you have to really hone those skills in as you grow older.
See, when you're young, you don't know. What you're doing is you're making a tape recording that's going to play for the rest of your life. You get what I'm saying there?
Expand on that.
Okay, so get this. That narrative that you have in your head that goes on without fail every single hour of the day, your thoughts are
Mm-hmm.
going.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those thoughts are a tape recording that your environment, your family, your friends, your peers have all contributed to this tape recording that plays on in your head without stop. And not everything on that tape recording is right.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't stop the tape recording from going. You're still going to have this toxic stuff, this toxic recording. I mean, this recording that some of it's good, but some of it is really bad, and it gets harder to focus on the good. And then people think, these are my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
My thoughts are bad. I'm a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't realize that you're not your thoughts. You
Yeah.
not the product of your thoughts. That's just a tape recording. And that's where mindfulness comes into play. You be mindful about your thoughts. You don't push your thoughts away. You're mindful about where your thoughts are, and
Mm-hmm.
you observe them like clouds floating by in the sky.
Yeah.
The blue sky is your consciousness and state of default being, while the clouds floating by are your thoughts, and you're just sitting there watching them, and then you go back to now. It's like I let the thoughts roll in and out like waves of an ocean. I
There
know
you
that's
go.
really corny, but
That's beautiful. I just watched a music video recently where there was have you heard of Lisa? She's a Japanese
no.
artist, singer. She just released a song called Homura, and it's her basically just standing on the beach with the waves crashing in, and she just there singing her heart out, with all this emotion, and it just brings me right back to that moment. I'm thinking about seeing that video, seeing her emote the way she does, and being lost in what's happening in front of me, and not thinking about all the distractions that are happening in my life. And
That's excellent. That is excellent. I love that 100%, because
yeah.
that kind of coincides with something else that I can add to that.
Okay.
Is the fact that people are unhappy. There's a lot of people who are unhappy in the world, and we're getting better at it, but sometimes it looks like a lot of people are unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are unhappy because they don't have what they want. What it is that there's people that's like, okay, I need this, then I can do this before I need this, then I can be happy. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, I need to do this, this, and this, and then I can be happy. People don't realize that they are the ones that are stopping themselves from being happy. It's not
Exactly.
because they lack something. It's because they've put that barricade there for themselves and saying, I can't feel happy until I have this, when people don't realize that happiness, that emotion that you want so bad, it's already inside you. And that's how you kind of go back to that song you're talking about, because you are putting yourself in a state where a familiar state that you were in before, and you're like, oh, I remember when I heard the song, I felt this. And it's like you close your eyes and you put yourself in the shoes of hearing that song for the first time, or hearing it in your head, and you let yourself feel the emotions that you want to feel. You're letting yourself feel it.
Yes. You're allowing happiness to come in.
Exactly. It's like there's a lot of people that don't allow happiness to come in.
Yes, that's huge. That's such a big point. And you know, you could expound upon that for a while, I think too, you know, the way people just put up those blockades from, you know, the moment of joy, of, you know, with their family, with their friends, just sitting by themselves listening to a beautiful song. You know, people lose that in the daily, you know, rat race of things, and making money, and having to, you know, get to this meeting in time. And, you know, it's a lost art, I think, in some ways. And it's a what? It's a lost art, you know, for people to just sit down and enjoy each other's company and not worry about what's happening the next day, or, you know, 2 months from now, what's happening right now, you know, what's happening right in front of you, and enjoy that moment, because it's not going to be there forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because when it comes down to it, now is what we have. Past doesn't matter. Future doesn't matter. Future is affected by the now. But people don't realize that all the power that we have is to be invested in the now. Instead, people are wasting energy on thinking about the future. People are wasting their time and their thoughts on, oh, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about this? You need to put all your power and your attention into the now, because that's where your power is most effective.
Exactly. You are the now. You know, you can't be your future self if your present self doesn't get there. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have to worry about what's going on in front of you right now and how you're feeling at the moment, and just take it day by day. You know, it doesn't have to be such a burden. Life doesn't have to be such a burden. It can be a joyful experience if you allow it, like we just talked about, if you allow the happiness to come in.
And there's a lot of people that don't allow themselves to be happy. And like, have you ever talked to anybody? Now, this is a concept that is a little alien to me. I keep on saying aliens, but oh well. But there are people who don't let themselves be happy because they feel like they don't deserve it. Have you ever? Yeah. It's like, did you know anybody like that?
Gosh, I feel like I felt like that for a while. Like, that's just one of those things that just pop into, like, the negative thoughts that pop into your head. Like, well, you know, I'm having trouble finding a girlfriend. Maybe I don't deserve one because I'm not good enough. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like, I know people who feel like they don't deserve blessings that they have. They don't deserve this to be happy because such and such happened in the past, and that made them a bad person, or such and such stuff like that. Me, whenever anything good happens to me, I'm thankful for it, and it's like, I'll take it. And that's why a concept of feeling like you don't deserve something is a little foreign to me, because I'm always grateful to take whatever blessings come my way.
Yeah, and I'm a lot more like that now than I used to be, for sure.
Really?
Yeah, I appreciate those little moments where, you know, you're just sitting talking to someone, like a new person. It's like, oh, look, I met a new person in my life, made a new friend. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
There's something to put on your gratitude list.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, I could have just sat at home and did nothing, but no, I went to jiu-jitsu practice. I went to Muay Thai practice. I met a new friend. We had a conversation, and we enjoyed each other's company, you know, and, you know, what else could you ask for in life? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's cool. And you lost yourself in that moment as you was having it.
Yeah. You're not even like making the conscious decision to not even think about negative thoughts, because they're just not there. You're immersed in
you're
what's going on.
The now.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
in the now. Exactly. That's why that's why it's possible for people who are clinically depressed to laugh. I mean, if you tell somebody who's depressed a really good joke and they laugh, they're in the now. It's like, no, I can't laugh at a joke. I'm too depressed right now. But not, some people can be stubborn and be like, no, I'm not going to laugh because I'm depressed and stuff like that. But but even a very depressed person knows how to be in the now in some shape or another.
Because like you said, that's the baseline. We all start there, and the older you get, the more experiences that you have that can cause, this clinical depression.
The more rocks you put in your pocket.
Exactly. There you go, bringing it back. The more balloons you carry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's been a great interview. I really appreciate your time. I think
it was a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
had a lot of fun with this conversation, and it'd be cool to do it again someday.
Yeah, this was awesome. Like, I really had a great time. I felt like it was in the moment, like we were just talking about, just talking to a friend and having these really cool conversations and just bouncing something off of someone else that has dealt with a lot of the things that I have. So I think it's phenomenal. I really do.
This has been a great conversation, and it's really nice talking. Yeah, I just want to say that when I first contacted you about this, it's like I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get a hold of Dan because he's doing this mental health podcast. And here's the thing is that it's like I love talking about mental health because I think I have a lot of insight that can help people. And as you could probably tell, I have a lot to say about the subject.
Yes, and some really great stuff too.
Yeah, this was a blast. Was a blast.
Yes, it was for me as well. I really had a lot of fun today. So thank you, Bret, so much for coming on to the show. I really appreciate your time and efforts.
No problem, Dan.
Yeah. Thank you so much. For those of you watching at home or listening on the podcast, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you in the next one. So thanks for watching. And as always, follow your instincts and peace out from the show. Sayonara.
Bye, peeps.
Bye-bye.